All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's training. So today's training is a little bit different. We are talking about how to lose weight without tracking calories or without weighing your food. So I created a special guide that I'll be releasing. I'll be sending out to you guys after this training comes out. And it basically goes over different methods, different techniques we can use to lose weight without having to, track our foods, put it on a scale, use a tracking app on our phones. Not to say that those things don't work. It's just that a lot of times it's very tedious. And in reality, if we don't build the skills initially to, lose weight whenever we go and we try to track foods, we're just going to be tracking foods. We're going to be eating like shit. And that's why we're not losing weight because we just haven't built the habits in order to lose the weight efficiently, right? You could lose the weight eating fast food, or you can lose the weight eating healthy food that you cook at home, right? One is better than the other, and one is also much healthier than the other. So here we go. Let me just share this to the screen, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the different methods we can use. So this is a brand new guide I created, Simply Fit Nutrition. So this goes a little bit more into following, proper habits, following healthier habits in order for us to lose weight, build muscle, and just, generally become healthier. Because, you could be counting calories, you could be weighing your foods, but like I said, if you're eating like shit, it's going to be way harder, and you're not going to be feeling good. So we want to make sure that we're actually practicing healthy habits initially. That's part of the optimization phase that I talked about in a previous video. If you haven't watched that, I can send you the link. Just reply to however you receive this video, and I'll send that over to you. So like I said, we want to be optimizing. So whenever we go into the transformation phase, it's a lot easier. We get straight into it. If we're eating like shit, we don't have the proper habits built in. We're not going to be going into the transformation phase, and we're not going to be having the results that we want to in the time that we want it to. So need a drink of water real quick. So yeah, let's get into it. This is Simply Fit Nutrition by yours truly. So first thing right here, nutrition can be hard. Here's a few practices to make eating healthy easier and simpler. And these methods apply if you're trying to lose fat and gain muscle or gain muscle or generally improve your health. If you find this helpful, email this to a family member or a friend who is starting their fitness journey and wants to get healthier. You know what to do. So if you find it helpful, send it over to a friend or family member. So this is number one, having a high protein source at every meal. High protein foods keep you fuller longer, are harder to overeat, and spreading them out to every meal will ensure that we're not getting hungry. It's going to make sure that we get satisfied. They allow us to hit our protein goal for the day. That way we can build muscle efficiently. And if you need examples on what foods to eat, I can send you the replay. It's linked right here. So whenever you get this video and whenever you get the guide along with the video, you can click on the link and you'll have access to that other guide or that other training that I did that goes exactly over choosing high protein foods. So that's the first one. We want to make sure that we're choosing high protein foods. It's not enough to just eat protein. We want to make sure we're eating high amounts of protein, right? Everyone's going to have a different recommendation. Just a quick, right in the moment, 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you're overweight, obese, you're not at the weight that you want to be at, you would use your goal weight, right? Not the goal weight that you said that you feel satisfied with, the actual goal weight you probably have to be at to be healthy, right? So it's going to be a little bit lower. And yeah, that's the video right there really explains which high protein foods to choose, what high protein foods are versus just foods that have protein in them. Because if you eat a jar of peanut butter, sure, you're going to get protein out of that, but you're going to get way more fat, not a great source of protein, versus eating something like a meat. It's going to have way more protein per serving. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that we're eating foods that are high in protein. That way we can hit our protein goals, get satisfied, hit satiety whenever we're eating our foods. And we're also not over consuming calories. So that's the first one. Make sure you're eating high protein foods. Eat more healthy carbs. Very simple, straightforward, but let me explain a little bit. Overly processed foods and carbs, like simple sugars, pastries, soft drinks, fast food, and juices make it easy to overeat, meaning you're going to be over consuming calories, right? It's kind of hand to hand, overeating, over consuming. This isn't to say don't eat them, but just be aware. eat more complex and fibrous carbs. Any fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and seeds are great options. So if it's packaged, if it comes in a box, in a bag, most of the times this is going to be overly processed. This is things like, your junk food, like cookies, like I said, pastries, anything that's a pastry. This isn't to say don't have them, just be aware that you're consuming something that is going to have more calories. So don't go crazy with it. Obviously enjoy yourself every now and then. And we're going to get into that in a further slide. But we don't want to just be eating that 24/7. It's not going to be helping us lose the weight that we want. It's going to make it a lot harder. But of course, keep it in your diet. I don't want you to cut it out completely. Just be aware that, okay, if I'm eating pastries often, it's going to be harder for me to lose weight, right? So maybe instead of eating 2 to 3 pastries a day, maybe cut down to 1 pastry, right? Maybe cut it down to 0, and then have it every other day, something like that, right? Every 3 days, every 4 days, once a week, whatever it is, right? We can make the changes here. The big idea here is just eating healthier carbs. You don't want to be eating things like chips, Cheetos, donuts, pizza all the time. You want to be eating whole foods. And there are ways to prepare these foods in a healthier way. So whenever you do eat them, you're not consuming as much as you would if you like bought it out at a store or something. So I'm not a chef, so I don't have anything just yet, but that is a way you can do it. And I can provide those videos moving forward if you guys want. So yeah, third one. So this is a very, very easy way to kind of make your meals, build your meals around protein, specifically using the chicken, broccoli, and rice template. So here you can see chicken, broccoli, and rice template. Instead of chicken, have beef. Instead of rice, have potatoes. Instead of broccoli, have asparagus. So the whole thing here is that we're focusing on the protein. Then we're having a carb source that's a starchy carb. And then we have a fibrous carb, right? So a fibrous carb usually is always going to be a vegetable. A starchy carb can be, any grains, any seeds, things like spaghetti, things like rice, things like potatoes. Those are going to be a lot more starchy. And along with that, we want to have our fibrous carbs. So we want to include things that are, either vegetables or pretty much any vegetable is going to work. That way we're eating whole foods. We're eating, the proper amount of calories, but we're also eating enough food to where we're getting full, right? So another example is ground turkey, bell peppers, and noodles. And this can easily be like a stir pot kind of, you stir it in the pot and you create a bowl out of that. I've seen a lot of people do recipes like that. I don't know the name off the bat, off the top of my head, but yeah, that sounds like a great meal. I mean, turkey, bell peppers, ground turkey, bell peppers, and noodles. That sounds like something you would buy at like a restaurant or something. And of course, we're gonna get into a little bit more, but feel free to season your foods. You don't have to eat bland food. You want to be eating food that is delicious to where you don't feel the need to go out and eat out at other spots and eat those foods that are filled with oils, overly processed, and then they're going to cost you a bunch of money because, you go spend $15-20 at a restaurant. That's $15-20 you could spend in groceries. That's going to last you like a week or two. So if you bought like $20 worth of chicken, I'm in Texas, so make the adjusting. If you bought like 20 pounds worth of meat here, it'll last you like a good week, maybe, I'd say, just depending on how much you eat. So yeah, fibers, carbs, starchy carbs, protein first, keeps the variety going and your belly happy. So build your meals around protein. Use the chicken and broccoli and rice template. Another one you can use is like maybe you want to eat like pork chops. Sorry about that. Maybe you want to eat like pork chops. I forget the names, but the little they're like cabbages. I forget. You guys can understand the little I forget what they're called. But any other vegetable, right? Maybe you want to do like a squash for your starchy carb. That's perfect, right? Or maybe you want to do like sweet potato, Brussels sprouts, right? So maybe you have like pork chops and Brussels sprouts and then like sweet potato. I mean, I've never made it, but it sounds not horrible, and then season it as best as you can with the seasoning that you want, put that on the grill. You can pan fry it. Oh, we'll get to that. So we'll get to that. But that's another example, right? I just came up with that right now. So calorie banking, this is another method we can use. So calorie banking, this is when you save calories for the day. If you know you're gonna go out to eat more that day, let's say you're going to a party, Maybe you have a lighter breakfast and you skip lunch and dinner and you eat more at the party. This will prevent you from overeating for the day, during whatever festivity you're going to or celebration, and it'll allow you to enjoy yourself at the event without needing to stress about the food. That way you can actually be present and say, okay, I'm going to enjoy my time here. I'm going to enjoy the food here. I'm not going to stress over it because I know that I didn't eat today. I didn't eat as much. So whatever I do eat, it's going to be okay, right? So I personally do this whenever I go to a buffet. I personally skip breakfast, I skip lunch, I skip dinner. So whenever I go to the buffet, I eat what I want in the amount that I want, right? But of course, you don't do this very often. This is only whenever you go out for like special events or something, or you are going out, and you're having some sort of feast, right? That way you eat to your heart's content, right? Of course, try not to overdo it, but you do have the room for an entire day worth of food in one meal. So it'll be a little bit harder. It just really depends on how much you eat. So calorie banking, that's basically what it is, saving your calories for the day, making sure we make the room in order to eat so we don't mess up our progress, right? I need a little drink of water because this talking gets your mouth dry. So that's calorie banking. And if you have any questions on any of these, you always feel free to reach out. I can explain them a little bit further. This one is more of like a mental kind of thing. So don't say you can't have certain foods. I mentioned earlier to limit overly processed foods. The rule is to eat healthy foods 80% of the time and fun foods 20% of the time. Completely restricting is a recipe for binging when you get access to those foods. Eating fun food won't harm you if your overall diet is healthy. If anything, you'll feel better after eating it and you won't feel the need to have it as often. So this is more of like the language you use creates kind of like your habits, your actions, right? If you say, I can't have this, I can't have that, one, you're making this illusion in your brain that you can't have this food for whatever reason, right? Of course, we want to limit things that, aren't as healthy. But we don't want to say that we can't have them. We are just choosing not to have them, right? Choosing not to have something versus not being able to have something are completely different, right? So like I said here, if you get access to those foods, the moment you do, you're going to overconsume because you've been telling yourself for the past few months, for the past year, I can't have these foods. So since you can't have them, the moment you do, you're just going to go crazy. And we don't want to be doing that. So just switch your mentality from saying I can't have this food to I choose not to have it at the moment, right? And at that last part, say that to yourself mentally. I choose not to have this at the moment. Maybe you come back and you eat it on the weekend or something. It just really depends on where we're at, right? If you're trying to lose weight, we want to make sure we're making it as easy as possible. You should be eating healthy 80% of the time, and we can fit in those foods 20% of the time if we're already eating healthy. If we're eating like shit and we throw on more shit on top of that, we're going to have bad results and we're not going to have what we want to get to, So we want to create these initial healthy habits. And then whenever we do add the fun foods, it's not going to be as big of a deal. But like I said, if you're eating like shit already and you just start eating more shit that's unhealthy for you, it's really not going to help. So next one is seasoning. You might think that cooking healthy means you don't have to eat or you can't eat tasty food, but that's further from the truth. Using seasoning to take your food to the next level is a game changer. Don't be afraid to use salt. It is one of the most commonly used, if not the most common used seasoning. Some other examples are cumin, garlic, barbecue, onion, oregano, thyme, red pepper, paprika, fajita, chili, and the list goes on. Explore different seasonings. Make sure they're powdered or flakes, right? This is a very easy way to transform the flavoring of your food to make it more easy or easier to stick to the foods that you're eating, to make it less repetitive, right? For those people that need that. If you don't need it, you don't have to change anything. You can eat the same foods day to day if you want, right? We still want to be having variety, and we want to be having different foods, and getting we haven't really talked about it, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals that we're not getting, so we want to be eating a balanced diet. But if you eat the same things every day, there's really nothing wrong with that. It really just falls down to personal preference. But I do understand that some people need that variety. So that's what this is for right here. And then the next one is less beverages and alcohol and more water. This is a very, very big one because if you don't have the habits of drinking more water and drinking less beverages and alcohol, this one can either make it or break it when it comes to hitting your goals. A lot of people will drink alcohol or consume a lot of beverages, soft drinks, things like that. So beverages and alcohol are known as empty calories, meaning they hold no beneficial nutritional value. Soft drinks will be mainly sugar, so it's just additional calories. Liquids are easier to consume than solids, so will consume way more calories. Try diet drinks and lower calorie alcoholic beverages. You can also mix diet drinks with normal drinks to enjoy both worlds. Water is essential. Aim for 50% of your weight in ounces. So a 200-pound man would need 100 ounces or equivalently 6 bottles of water, right? One bottle of water is about 16.9 ounces. So if you want to round it up to 17, I mean, I don't see why not. So 16.9 ounces. So I guess if you want to do like very, very easy math, 15 ounces per bottle minimum. But if you have 6 bottles of water, that is I did the math before, but it was like 101 ounces. So it's not exactly 100, but you're getting the minimum that you would need. So we want to be having that at a very, very minimum, just for health reasons, right? But we want to make sure we're cutting back on the beverages and the alcohol just in general. Like I said previously, don't tell yourself you can't have these foods. Just think, I'm choosing not to have them because they're not serving me. They're really not doing anything for you. So if you are going out and you're going out to like a festivity or some sort of reunion or some sort of get together, of course, you can enjoy yourself, but don't make it a thing that you do daily because it's just gonna make everything a lot harder. And then, like I said, if you want to make it a little bit more flexible, you can drink the diet versions with the normal versions. That way you can get a little bit of both, right? So that's another way that you can reduce calories and create those healthier habits instead of going like cold turkey and just going straight to the diet drinks. You can drink the normal one, drink the diet one, mix them together. That's one method that I've seen that people do that really works if you can't or you don't like, the flavor or whatever. But over time, you get used to it, just like with anything else. You get used to the flavors and everything. And then as far as like alcohol goes, same thing. Cut down to the lower calorie versions, or just try to reduce it as much as you can. I'm a big proponent when it comes to not drinking alcohol because it really doesn't do anything for you. There's been research that came out that says that even just one serving of alcohol, it affects you completely, right? So that's not to fear monger it, but it really doesn't do anything for you. If you really want to be health focused, health conscious, it's not something that you want to be doing. But of course, I understand for a lot of people, it's something that you do, recreationally, socially. You go out, hang out with friends, hang out with family. I completely understand, but just be aware. It's another one of those things just to be aware of, right? If you're consuming a lot of alcohol, it's just going to make it harder to lose weight, right? Hey, a couple more slides to go. So considering your cooking styles affect how our food comes out. If you're trying to lose weight, you'd have a hard time if you ate deep fried foods due to the additional calories. Deep fried foods can also cause health issues like cholesterol. So it'd be a good idea to not have it too frequently. Switch to alternative styles like baking, broiling, grilling, boiling, air frying, or pan frying. These are all healthier ways to cook your food and you will still achieve great flavor. So this is pretty much common sense. You don't want to be pouring or you don't want to be putting your food deep into oil because when it comes out, one, if you're already having health issues like high cholesterol, you're just going to be bringing that up. And then two, it's just going to bring the calorie content of that food up, right? If you had something like a grilled or a baked chicken versus like a deep fried chicken, one is going to be healthier, it's going to have less calories, and the other one is going to be, probably taste better, right? Maybe. I would really, really argue that if you just pour oil on everything, it's actually kind of nasty. Um, when you really like become aware of it. So just making that change of your cooking styles, right? If you're able to, bake it, if you're able to broil it, if you're able to grill it, if you're able to boil it, if you're able to air fry it, and then pan frying is probably one of the ones that is most easy to transition to. I don't think most people deep fry their foods, but just in case you do, that's probably a change you might want to make, right? And again, with everything here, you don't have to completely cut it out. Just be aware of it and try to do the healthy versions 80% of the time. And then, like I said, if you have some sort of reunion or some sort of festivity, you can go ahead and deep fry your food that one time. It shouldn't be the go-to most of the time. You should be going to the healthier versions 80% of the time. So then whenever we do have those certain occasions, we can enjoy it and not, stress about it. It's just going to make the process so much easier. Another one, go easy on the condiments. We can get carried away with condiments. They contain a lot of calories per their small servings. Again, this isn't to say we don't have to not have them. This isn't to say don't have them, but just be aware. For weight loss, we want to try out their sugar-free, calorie-free, and fat-free alternatives. Most stores carry these alternatives due to the rise in health complications and general population weight gain. Some good calorie-free staples are mustard and vinegar. Of course, read the labels. That's something we're going to go into another training. But if you're having issues with like high sugar levels, you might want to consider switching over to a sugar-free condiment. It's doing like sugar-free ketchup, sugar-free barbecue, sugar-free whatever it is that you use. Fat-free alternatives, same thing. If you're struggling with things like high cholesterol, or just generally, since if you're someone who's overweight or obese, you probably want to make these changes. It's these little changes going to make a big deal. And of course, like I said at the very beginning, go easy on the condiments. You don't want to lather, you don't want to bathe your food in condiments. That's just going to add so many calories. Instead, go back, do the seasonings. The seasonings are going to have pretty much the exact same effect. It's going to have this exact same taste. You just won't have all the additional calories, right? And then, like I said, maybe you have that one time that you do have it like this, then you can enjoy it. Then you can go, have the normal food, right? But we want to be choosing the healthier option, like I said. So go easy on the condiments and then check out their lower calorie, healthier alternatives, right? So keep your meal simple and rotate. So the group, my whole coaching name is Simply Fit, right? Keeping things simple, easy, and doable. That way we can consistently implement and continue to make progress. So unless you have all day to cook complicated meals, keeping them simple will save time and effort. If we can make quick meals, we'll eat out less, eat healthier and tastier meals. Rotating through our meals will give us the variety we want and won't feel the need to eat out. Change the protein, starchy carbs, and fibers carbs. Same thing, going back to that chicken, broccoli, and rice template. Similarly, rotate from different seasonings, condiments, and cooking styles. Have 10 go-to foods and rotate them for variety and satiety. But if you're okay with eating the same things, you don't have to change anything at all. So if you choose 10 foods, your 10 foods to go, think about the different ways you can cook them, right? Instead of boiling them, you can broil them. Instead of broiling them, you can grill them. Instead of grilling, you can bake them. Instead of baking, you can air fry them. Instead of air frying, you can pan fry it. So that's already like 7 different ways. So that's 70 different combinations you can make, along with the other 2, your starchy carbs and fibers carbs. If you decide to do that, you have a variety of different ways you can prepare your foods, right? And then same thing with the condiments. It just takes it to another level, another layer. If you really think about it, a lot of the foods that we eat are the same dishes, just prepared differently, right? Of course, there's going to be things like, cultural ways that we prepare our foods that we grew up with, and that's totally fine. Keep those going and then just make the changes that you can where you can make it healthier, of course. And you're just going to have a really good time. But if you don't need the variety or you don't need as much variety, you keep it the same way. Keep it simple, don't stress about it. Use a little bit of common sense. If you like the foods that you eat, who's to tell you like change them? So eating to satisfaction is another big one. This is another one that's also physical, but it also is a little bit mental, and it ties back into like how you grew up, really, your upbringing. So you might be the type of person who feels the need to eat every single thing on your plate, otherwise you feel like you wasted food. I completely understand. I really do. I completely understand this feeling. Even to this day, I don't like to waste food. But you are allowed to stop eating once you feel satiated. You don't have to stuff yourself until you are uncomfortably full. You can do one of 2 things. First, serve yourself enough food to feel satiated, satisfied, and not get overly full. Here, you are saving food instead of over-consuming just for the sake of eating more, which I believe is better since you're not being wasteful. Because if you're just eating to eat, you are being wasteful. You're just wasting food because you're just eating more just for the sake of it, right? If you're truly trying to be resourceful, you would eat what you need to eat, not go to that extreme of just eating just to eat, right? That's a little bit gluttonous, and we don't want to be doing that, right? Both health wise and just like spiritually, the way that that we don't want to be over consuming in any aspect of our lives. So second, you can take the leftovers and save them for later. You're not wasting any food here, and you can finish what you have. Great method if you're eating out. So if you go out to a restaurant, you don't finish your meal, you don't finish whatever you ordered, you don't have to stress about it. Just take it home, eat it the next day, and boom, done deal. You don't have to stress about it. You're not being wasteful. you are still eating the food. It's still there. It's not going anywhere, right? So I think a lot of people do struggle with this to where they feel like they need to eat every single little thing. When in reality, you don't. Either serve yourself what you are going to eat and don't, serve yourself to the point where you're just stuffed and you feel nasty the entire day. And then if you do serve yourself more, or you do get a serving of food that's more than what you would normally eat, then save it and eat it later. Like that's literally it, right? So I don't think I have to say more than that. Taking your time while eating, another one that's more of a mental aspect, right? Another common thing people do is just scarf down food like it's running away from them. Instead, take your time and chew through your food. Appreciate the fact that you're eating a meal and take in the flavors. Don't just half chew through your food and swallow half solid food, because your brain and stomach don't sync up in a short amount of time. Many times we will eat past what we need. It takes about 20 minutes for our brain to process your eating food and for it to realize you're full. If time allows this, do it. I realize sometimes we're in a time crunch, so this won't necessarily apply there. When you're at home eating breakfast and dinner, or maybe out with friends and family, take some time to practice this, right? So if you're able to do it, do it. If you're not able to do it, don't worry about it too much. But just really take your time eating your foods. Don't act like it's running away from you. Really chew through your foods. Really sit and be present with your food, right? I also realized, even growing up, even going to, in school, sometimes you're very limited to the time that you have, to eat your food. So you just, scarf it down. And eventually this leads to becoming an unhealthy habit, right? You get food in front of you and you just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And then you realize, oh, wow, I ate that food. I wasn't really hungry to the point where I needed to eat all of it, but I just ate it because it was in front of me and I didn't really think about it. Versus like sitting there and say, okay, I'm going to eat this food. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to really enjoy it, right? Like you enjoy anything else. Whenever you're at a movie, you're not thinking about other things. You try to sit there and enjoy whatever you're doing, right? Same thing with food. Be present, chew through your food, appreciate the flavors, appreciate the fact that you're having a meal, right? And then just take it easy. You don't have to act like the food is running away from you. Just be present and be thankful, right? So this is another one of those mindfulness things, more of a mental aspect kind of thing, right? Fitness is just as much mental as it is physical, as it is emotional. And then one of my last slides, if you are struggling, take imperfect action with anything, right? You're starting your fitness journey, working out and eating healthier will be a challenge. Embrace the learning process and try new things. It will take a while to create a new lifestyle. We're not here for temporary diets or quick fixes. We want long-lasting results, because realistically, if you do a quick fix or a temporary fix, you're just going to go back to where you were initially, right? Pick 2 or 3 of these and start implementing if you're not doing them already, until you do them automatically, until you say, oh, wow, okay, I've been cooking my foods, in a healthier version for like the past 3 months, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. Or, oh, wow, instead of like drinking sodas every single time I go out, I'm having this diet soda and it's helping lose weight, right? That's 2 things you can easily do, right? Pick 2 or 3 of the 2 to 3 of these at a time, work on them until they're automatic, then choose another 2 or 3, then another 2 or 3, and in a year you're going to have built the habits in order to make the change, right? You're going to be fully optimized, right? For some people, it's going to take a little bit longer. For some people, it's going to be a lot shorter, right? It really just depends on you. And if you're struggling, reach out and ask questions. Here is another link right here in the guide itself. So whenever I send it out, you should be able to click there if you're not already in the group. Join the group if you haven't. And if you are in the group, feel free to message me if you have any questions over this guide. You should consider becoming a client and coaching from your favorite fitness coach, this guy. If you are truly struggling and can't get the results that you want, your friend and family member are waiting for this guide. What are you waiting for? I know this has been helpful. I know that everything I said is a lot. That's why pick 1, 2, or 3 max of these and work on them. And then just continue, right? Rinse and repeat, 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, max 3, because 3 is a lot. And just take imperfect action, implement. And then over time, these small changes add up. And you don't have to track calories. You don't have to track food. You don't have to go into MyFitnessPal. You don't have to weigh your food, right? Of course, you can. It works. But for a lot of people, like I said, that's like step 10. These was like, I forgot how many slides were here, but counting calories, tracking your food and weighing it, that's like step 10. You haven't even built the initial habits to get to that point. So we want to build these initial habits. So whenever we do get to that point, we're not sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm going to go eat Chick-fil-A and how many calories is in that, right? You should be saying, okay, I'm going to be eating at home. I'm going to have lunch, breakfast, and dinner. I'm going to have a protein source here, my protein source here, my protein source here. These are my carbs. These are my carbs. These are my carbs. Oh, wow, I'm not drinking as much alcohol. Oh, wow, I'm not drinking as many beverages. Oh, I actually feel better because I'm not eating like shit. I'm eating real food and I'm not eating packaged food all the time, right? So, like I said, take imperfect action. So key takeaways. One, prioritize high protein foods and build around them. And the guide, that first slide, there's the link there again, just as a reminder, if you need specifics on what to choose. And then if you need more help, feel free to message me. Eat healthier carbs instead of just junk foods, because one, it's going to have less calories, and two, you're physically going to be feeling better because you're not eating shit that just, makes you feel nasty, right? You're actually eating good, healthy foods that nurture and are nutritional and help your body, right? Calorie bank when you have a feast coming, you know, if you know you're going to eat a lot, might as well save some room for whenever you go out to eat, right? Of course, don't abuse it. Stop saying you can't have certain foods. Switch your mindset to I choose not to have these at the moment, right? Because restriction leads to overconsumption whenever you get access to whatever it is that you're restricting, right? Think of like teenagers. You tell them don't do something and they want to do it even more, right? Use healthier cooking styles and more seasonings. So instead of, pouring fucking oils on your food all the time, think of the different ways you can cook your foods. And I already outlined those, and use more seasonings to take your food to the next level, right? I love garlic. That's one of the things I always season my foods with. Garlic. It's so good. Um, so find whatever seasoning you like most and just use it, right? Drink less alcohol slash beverages and more water. Pretty straightforward. You don't want to just be consuming alcohol all the time and drinking beverages all the time. Drink more water just for health reasons, literally. Watch out for sneaky condiments. They add up over time. They add calories and making it harder for you to lose weight, lose fat. Keep meals simple and rotate for variety and satiety. That way you are consistently eating the same foods or consistently eating foods that you enjoy and consistently losing fat, right? Don't starve yourself. Eat to satiety. Don't be gluttonous. Don't pig out on foods. Eat to satiety. Really think, am I full or do I feel okay with what I've eaten? And can I step away from this? Because if you're not hungry anymore, that's usually a sign that you are good, right? Really think to yourself, okay, can I step away from this? And do I feel the need to eat more? Or am I eating, oh my God, I'm stepping away. I'm like, I just feel really full. I feel really nasty. I need to go lay down and let my food digest, right? If you feel that way, you probably ate too much. Be mindful when you eat, take your time and enjoy, right? Just like with a movie, you want to be present, you want to watch the movie, you want to really take it in versus, looking around and having distractions and not really know what's going on, right? Same thing with your food. Pick two to three of these at a time to work on, and you'll slowly begin to eat healthier, making it easier to lose fat and build muscle. Because there's no point in losing weight to losing fat if you're just going to be unhealthy at the end of it, because you could lose weight on just eating shit, but then you're just going to feel like shit. You want to be eating things that actually are good for you, help you reach your goals, and help you feel good, right? The whole purpose of this is to chase health, is not just to chase a number at the end of the day. Because if we feel like shit with our ideal body that we want to get to, then what's the point, really? I mean, yeah, you're going to be healthier physically, but physical health in terms of appearance is completely different than actual health, things like, blood markers, sugar levels, even mentally, the foods that you eat have a big effect on how you perform, how you feel, things like that. And then building muscle, if you're eating high protein, if you're eating healthy foods, you're going to have a lot easier time, building muscle because you're eating foods that are nutritional, that actually provide nourishment to your body, right? So that is the last slide right there. So yeah, I'll be sharing this with the group. I'll be uploading this video. If you see this video, let me know where you came from. Comment down below any questions you might have. If you want to see something else, let me know what else you want to see. And if you have any questions and haven't joined the group, I really recommend joining the group because we're going to keep on doing trainings like this in the future. And of course, if you're struggling with, reaching your goals and everything, I highly recommend becoming a client because you're having a hard time. Things aren't going to get easier and time only passes. So do you want to be in this same spot, in the same position, 3, 6, 12 months from now? Or do you want to make the investment and make the change and actually make long lasting permanent changes and then you never have to look back, right? So instead of, having another year just pass and not make any changes or not get to where you want to get to, take the year to work on things and then make the progress and maintain it, right? That's the SimpliFit method. So keeping things simple, easy, that way we can consistently make progress, right? If this makes sense, if you enjoyed this, send it to your friend, send it to a family member. One, it really helps me out, and then it's going to help out your friend, family member, coworker, anyone who you share it to is going to help them out so much. So again, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in to the training. And if you have anything else, any other questions, any suggestions, you can always reach out to me and let me know. I appreciate you guys joining today's training.